All right, and we welcome you back to the Justin Kinner Show. I think we got all this streaming stuff figured out. We weren't live on Facebook, we're live on YouTube. I think we're good now. Phone line's lighting up. We'll get to your calls coming up in just a moment. But yeah, opened up talking, of course, about Ohio State, where they fell in the rankings. I'm still big on Penn State. I just think that they have the same makeup as Michigan years ago. They had the same makeup as Ohio State a year ago. And I think that they should be the favorite. Texas and Ohio State right now, you cannot convince me that they're the top two teams in the country when you don't even know who they have at quarterback. And as we all know, football is always all about the quarterback. It's the most important puzzle piece. You cannot sit here and say that like everyone, I mean, you have Paul Feinbaum and others who are just drooling over the fact that, Texas has, Arch Manning. I'm like, if his last name wasn't Manning, we wouldn't even be talking about this. We wouldn't even be talking about this as far as that's concerned. It's not that we wouldn't be talking about it, but there would still be questions. Like Ohio State's the defending national champion, so they're getting a little extra love. But I'm here to tell you, I don't care that they won the national championship last year. If Julian Saint's not the guy, they're not going to be very good. They're going to be very vulnerable, and they're not going to be a favorite to win the national championship. 12-team playoff, that's the expectation. But I don't know really what I want I don't really know what a fair expectation is for Ohio State until I know exactly who they have at quarterback. All right, I'm Justin Kinner. It's the Justin Kinner Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. I want to transition back over to the Cincinnati Reds real quick. They're going to be in action coming up later tonight. They're 2 games out of a playoff spot as we currently sit here right now. 6:40 the first pitch, 6:10 is when pregame coverage will begin. So as we sit here right now, we talked about it on yesterday's show. It was kind of coming out as it was coming out as the show was going on. And it really caught me by surprise because I was not expecting it. Chase Burns has just been lights out. 4 straight games with 10 or more strikeouts. He's been unbelievable, right? Well, we keep forgetting that this kid was drafted not even just over a calendar year ago. He was called up just under a calendar year since being drafted by the Reds. But, I mean, things have moved pretty quickly. We got a brief glimpse of him here in Dayton. Obviously, was in Chattanooga for a bit and then for a cup of coffee, basically, over in Louisville. Called up very quickly, and as he should be. I think we're starting to see pitchers, especially college pitchers, especially high-end level college pitchers, like a Paul Skeens and others. And we saw it with Rhett Lauder last year. We're seeing these pitchers that are coming in, and they're a lot closer to game-ready products than what we've seen in years past. Pitchers, it seems like it's a lot. It's taken longer for hitters to adjust it and to climb up the ranks. But as far as pitching, and we've seen this many times for the Reds, we've seen guys make it quickly through the system. We watched it with Mike Leake. I know that's a long time ago, but it's not that new. But to see Chase Burns quickly move his way through at a position where the Reds actually have depth. I mean, the Reds have so much depth right now that they took one of their starting pitchers and moved it to the bullpen. They traded for an additional starting pitcher to move one of their pitchers into the bullpen. And really, they could move Chase Burns to the bullpen, and it's not going to impact that rotation at all. Like, the Reds have depth at that position. I've said it before. The Reds, legitimately, I think, on opening day next year, they are going to have a full-on homegrown rotation. All right, you're going to have Hunter Green. I think next year, and again, I don't want to talk about next year right now when there's still 2 games out of a playoff spot as we sit here in August. But as I sit here and I look at the Reds, opening day, I think that their rotation is going to be built with Hunter Green as your opening day starter. And I honestly think, depending on the progression of Chase Burns between now and then, it's between Andrew Abbott and Chase Burns for who's going to be your number 2. I would put Chase Burns as your number 2 starter in that rotation. I would put Andrew Abbott as your number 3 starter in that rotation. I would put Nick Lodolo as your number 4, and then I'd put Rhett Lauder at number 5. I mean, a full-on homegrown pitching rotation. That's rare. I don't know the last. I'm not saying the Reds have never done it. I'd have to go back and look, but at least in my lifetime, I don't think it has been done where the Reds have been able on opening day to throw out a full homegrown opening day, a rotation heading into opening day. And because you got to throw names in there. But like these are legit dudes. Rhett Lauder's a legit dude. Chase Burns a legit dude. Nick Lodolo, obviously Hunter Green, Andrew Abbott. Like this is like the rotation's built for the future, immediate future, as far as that's concerned. But as far as the immediate future, when you look at this rotation with Hunter Green, who is making his return tomorrow, we haven't seen him in months. He's making his return to the Reds rotation tomorrow. Okay, Nick Lodolo's out somehow with the stupid blister again. All right. So he's out with the blister, but he's going to be coming back relatively soon. It's not projected to be a long IL stint. He's going to be back very soon. But you have Andrew Abbott. You have Lytle, who you just got, obviously, from the Rays at the deadline. Chase Burns, Brady Singer. Brady Singer, you got him on a one-year deal, just a swap basically for Jonathan India. It's worked out really well for Cincinnati. But what do you do moving forward? Because you're 2 games out, and a lot of the Reds' problems are really not from the starting pitching. In fact, none of it's from the starting pitching. It's all from the question marks that they have offensively. I've seen when this offense goes up against any kind of decent pitching, they disappear. And the pitching, and we saw the pitching last night. It was another great outing last night, and they didn't. They weren't able to come away with the win because the offense just doesn't give them enough margin of error for them to be able to overcome any kind of drama like that. So my thing is, if the Reds did follow through on what Charlie Goldsmith and others reported yesterday, that they are contemplating shutting down Chase Burns, they are contemplating moving him to the bullpen. I reacted very aggressively yesterday, saying how absolutely ridiculous it would be if they went that route. I don't think it's that ridiculous of an idea as we sit here right now. It's not unheard of to have a innings count on a big prospect like Chase Burns. And the reason that this is a little bit alarming to us is because as Reds fans, it's not often where we've been able to talk about a Reds team that's well in the hunt in the playoff picture. We are usually accustomed to moving on by now. So when pitching prospects come up and there's talks of shutting them down, we don't really get all hot and bothered by it because the season's been shut down for a while. The season is still well and healthy, 2 games out of a playoff spot, meaningful games in the month of August. So I don't think that the talks of putting him, in the bullpen or shutting him down, it's not as crazy as what I feel like it came across yesterday. I overreacted yesterday. I think the idea of shutting him down is blasphemous. I do think that from a strategy standpoint, it almost makes sense to move Chase Burns to the bullpen. You already have, when the rotation's fully healthy, if you can go into the playoffs with a Hunter Green, Andrew Abbott, Nick Lodolo, Lytle, Brady Singer, if that's your rotation, and now you have Nick Martinez and Chase Burns that you moved into the bullpen with what was already a very good bullpen to begin with, just not very deep, I think the Reds, that's a deep pitching staff from top to bottom. Strong arms that can give you extended middle relief work if you need. I just think the Reds have a lot of potential if they do move Chase Burns to the bullpen. I overreacted yesterday. I don't like the idea of shutting him down. I will admit I did not overreact to that idea. Shutting him down is blasphemous to me. I think that's ridiculous. I think that's silly. I think you shut him down. I'll be very annoyed with that. Moving him to the bullpen is not that crazy of an idea. It's just not. I think the fact that he has had 4 straight games of 10 or more strikeouts, he hasn't come away with any wins. It's one of those where he's dominating and getting guys out early. He's getting gassed, and he doesn't go as deep into ball games. Like, he's not very efficient. He's striking out a lot of guys. He's just not very efficient. And I tell you what, if you can look at Chase Burns and say, go give me 2 innings of gas, just go out there and just fire away, he's going to strike. I mean, you give him 2 innings, he's striking out at least 4 of the 6 batters he faces. I think Chase Burns is a great addition to the bullpen for a brief stint this season. If the options are shut him down or move him to the bullpen, both are logical. We just are not used to that because our team's normally not in this playoff conversation. I don't think it's that bad of an idea. I really don't. Not anymore. I overreacted yesterday, thought about it, read more about it, kind of heard different people's opinions on it. The more I think about it, I actually think it makes the Reds better. If you're going to take a talent like Chase Burns, who just strikes out everybody he faces, it seems, and you move him to the bullpen when you already have a lot of depth in your rotation to begin with, then guess what? If another key injury is sustained between now and the end of the season, you have Nick Martinez to bump up. You have Chase Burns to bump up. You have options. But the innings count will be reached pretty quickly if he continues on as a starter. I have no problem if Terry Francona and the Reds try to find a way to get him situated in some kind of bullpen role ahead of what could potentially be a playoff run come October. 937-518-1410. I'm solo in the studio today, so I see that the phones have been blinking this whole time. It's annoying, I know. I am on the bosses to get me somebody in here to answer these calls because it's annoying the hell out of me. So just so you guys know, I'm advocating for it. But I will get your calls and get you in line during this break. So we're going to step away, get you guys in order, and I'm curious your guys' thoughts. Have you walked off the ledge a little? Have you kind of walked back from the ledge a little bit like I did? Yesterday I was hot. I thought that the idea of messing with Chase Burns was absolutely idiotic. I thought it was silly. I thought it was ridiculous and laughable and just so beyond small market. But it's actually smart. You can't run this kid's arm into the ground. That's how you're going to end up with him having to get Tommy John or something crazy. So if you stick to the innings count, the best way to do that is move him to the bullpen. And the bullpen needs more depth. You had Nick Martinez. You had Chase Burns with what was already pretty solid to begin with. It makes the Reds better. The rotation's already good, especially with you get Hunter Green back. Andrew Abbott's been lights out. Lytle's been, he's had 2 starts. One's been very, very good. The other, not so much. But again, he was very good with the Rays. I just think it makes the Reds better. And the Reds aren't going to get better offensively. So the only thing you can do is just continue to lean into your strength. It's kind of like the Bengals. They can't improve their defense. Right? They can't improve their defense. Their strength is their offense. And what did they do? They went out and got a Noah Fant. Well, how does that fix their problems? It doesn't, but there's no solution to their problem right now. So the solution is lean more into your strength. You already had Mike Gesicki. Go get a Noah Fant to add to your strength, which is your offense. I was one of them. Bengals, what are you doing? You're idiots. You should have went and loaded up. You need to be spending money and helping your defense. There is no logical move out there that makes sense to improve this team defensively at this point. So rather than do nothing, lean into your strength even more. And I think that's what the Reds are doing here. Their strength is their pitching. There's not a lot of options to go improve offensively. So lean into your strength even more. And that's what they're doing with the potential move of Chase Burns to the bullpen. And I don't think it's as crazy as an idea as what I overreacted to yesterday. But the shutting him down stuff is nonsense. That I'll have a problem with at the end of the day. All right, good stuff. I want to step away for a few moments. Again, the Justin Kinner Show presented by our friends over at Frickers. Frickers, your home for fun, food, sports, and spirits. Tell you what, things are picking up. High school football is next week. College football kicks off in a couple of weeks. NFL coming up around the corner as well. And we are going to be out and about. It's the busy time of year for me and us here at 1410 ESPN Radio. Every Friday night, going to be at a different high school football game, bringing you our game of the week. Every Saturday, we're going to be at a different Submarine House location for our Buckeye pregame show. Really excited about that. And then every Sunday, we'll be taking the Sunday morning tailgate on the road to various Frickers locations throughout the Miami Valley. NFL Sunday, college football Saturday, high school football Friday. We're going to be busy. But we love taking the shows out on the road and meeting all the fans and listeners. So looking forward to that as far as that goes. Let's continue with this conversation. 937-518-1410. The Chase Burns move to the bullpen. If it happens, lean into your strength. That makes the Reds better. I don't know how we could say that's a bad thing. We'll discuss when we come back. All right, and we are back. It's the Justin Kinner Show, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. All right. If you are a wrestling fan, you can catch Card Subject to Change every Thursday at 6 o'clock. Earlier today, Benjamin Chimera, who hosts that show, John Moxley and AEW, going to be in Cincinnati tomorrow and Thursday. So we had John Moxley on, so that's pretty cool. We'll have that interview for you on Thursday, but we are still giving away tickets to see AEW in Cincinnati tomorrow. We have tickets for Wednesday and Thursday shows. So if you text right now, AEW, to 937-518-1410. Text AEW to 937-518-1410 for your chance to win a pair of tickets to see AEW live in Cincinnati Wednesday and Thursday or Thursday. But we'll hook up as many of our listeners as we can with those tickets. So just reach out by texting AEW to 937-518-1410. Reds back in action tonight, game 2 of the series against the Phillies. Okay, 6:40 the first pitch. Brady Singer going to be on the mound tonight. Hunter Green tomorrow night. Okay, Hunter Green on the mound tomorrow night. And then game 1 on Friday night against the Brewers, as of right now, features Chase Burns. Lot was made yesterday when the news came out that, well, there's a little bit of an innings limit that they put Chase Burns on when they debuted him back in early or late June against the New York Yankees. And I read this yesterday and I flipped out. I went on this long rant, just how pissed I was that the Reds were even entertaining this idea. And to be honest, it's not that crazy of an idea. The innings limit makes sense. You don't want to throw your number one prospect's arm into the ground. You don't want to risk Tommy John. You don't want to do any of that. And this isn't unusual. But as I stated, we are so used to the Reds being out of it by this time that we don't even pay attention to stuff like this. This is just one of those crossroads that the Reds are in where it's one of the rare occasions where they're actually well in a playoff hunt. They are 2 games out of a playoff spot in the middle of August, playing meaningful games and series in the middle of August. We have usually checked out at this time. We're not checked out. We're invested. And we're anxious, and we just want to see this team succeed. And in the middle of a playoff race for the first time in a long time, while being 2 games out in big, meaningful games, the last thing we want to hear is about our organization talking about shutting down one of their top prospect, which is one of their top pitchers. But to reset this here, as I stated earlier, the one strength that the Reds have is their pitching. And if they to try to accommodate the innings limit on Chase Burns, if they try to accommodate that by moving him to the bullpen, I don't think that's a horrible thing. He doesn't make the rotation worse by leaving it. They have weapons there. Nick Lodolo will not be on the IL long with this blister. Okay. Hunter Green is back starting tomorrow. You have Hunter Green, you have Andrew Abbott, you have Nick Lodolo, you have Brady Singer, you got Lytle from the at the trade deadline, right? The strength of this team was the pitching, so much so that they moved Nick Martinez back to the bullpen. The bullpen got better. You move Chase Burns to the bullpen will be better. The Reds are just leaning into their strength. I want them to get better offensively. I want them to get more production at the plate, but there's no time for that. The trade deadline is coming past. They did nothing in the offseason. So you just got to face reality. And the reality is, one move that the Reds can make to really improve this team even more is to move Chase Burns there. I made the comparison to the Bengals earlier. I thought the Noah Fant thing was kind of stupid, to be honest with you. I'm like, this team is horrendous defensively, and yet they're out there spending stupid money to go get Noah Fant. How dumb is that? Well, taking my Bengals hater cap off for a minute, the Bengals are at a position now where they can't get better defensively. Okay? There's no one you can go get to really, truly improve your team defensively. So rather than just run in place, they leaned into their strength. Would they love to improve defensively? Yeah, but they can't at this point. So just lean into your strength. Your offense is your strength. Go get another pass catcher. You have Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. You have Mike Gesicki. Now you go get Noah Fant. Does it help you defensively? No, but it made you better, and you're leaning into your strength. That's what the Reds are doing if they bite the bullet here and do this. It's not the end of the world. I overreacted yesterday. What's your guys' reaction if the Reds do this? Again, he's supposed to start Friday night. He's supposed to start Friday night against the Brewers. Will that hold? I don't know. That's going to be the big question mark. I'm very curious to see. And maybe this isn't a move that the Reds are looking to make this second. Maybe this is something that as they head into September, Maybe this is a move that they make in September. But I will say, if the Reds, this is a tough series against the Phillies. If you lose this series against the Phillies and you lose the series against the Brewers, I would consider shutting it down. Because mathematically, the Reds very well may be in the hunt at the end of the week. But if they lose the series, both series, how good is this Reds team anyways? If they're mathematically in it, it has a lot more to do with the fact that the Mets just continue to, plummet. And shutting down Chase Burns doesn't mean you're going to lose, but you're losing with him. So this is an important series. They got to get tonight's game. Don't set up a pitching for your live situation tomorrow to avoid being swept, and you have to find a way to take momentum into this series with the Brewers, who have owned you for the past half decade. So, Gary, how are you, sir? On the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page. He reaches out to the show. He's on the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page. Everyone has Facebook. Go follow along. Gary says, Burns' arm has been conditioned since spring training to pitch every fifth day. You do not move him to the pen where he will pitch more often than what his arm is conditioned first. You will double the risk of injuring his arm. Asinine to put him in the pen. So Gary disagrees with me. He does not want to see Chase Burns move to the bullpen. And I understand it. I don't like these scenarios. Let's be clear here. I'm not a fan of the move in regards to, I think the Reds desperately need to do this. But if they truly are going to lean into the innings limit, if the options are shut him down or move him to the bullpen, I'm going to go with moving to the bullpen. I'm going to go with cheering that on because I want to see as much of Chase Burns as possible. And if the options are shut him down or bullpen, I want him in the bullpen. I want him to remain in the rotation, don't get me wrong. But if your options are bullpen or shut him down, I want the bullpen. So, Gary, I'm not saying I necessarily disagree with you, but the reality is the innings limit is going to play a role in what decision the Reds make. And you keep overusing the word conditioned. I think the Reds are conditioning us to just accept that innings limit is going to lead to them making some kind of drastic move that is going to lead to this. 937-518-1410. Shaw, you are on live.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Another day, penny. But what's up?
I'm glad that the day went on and I was able to relax and calm down a little bit because this team had me absolutely frustrated after last night. And I know you're talking about the Burns effect and what was released yesterday. So I'll hit that for a little bit, and then I'll get to the rest of what had me fired up last night. I don't know. And the reason I don't know what the best move is to make with this Burn stuff is because each player is different. And I know it's cliche, but it's so true. Trace kind of said it last night on the show after the game, and it's so true. Each player's biomechanics determine on how their arm is going to react and stuff like that. Kirby said something else very interesting, that if he continues throwing another 9 starts, averages out to about 5 innings, he actually hits about the same number of innings that he hit for Wake Forest last year. So I'm not really truly understanding what the Reds are freaking out about. I don't.
I think what they're freaking let's look at it this way. What happens? I think and you know what? Maybe they're not freaking out, Shaw. Maybe they know they're going to get Lodolo back and Hunter Green's back. And not saying they have to do this. They could go the 6-man rotation route, but they have too many pitchers now. So maybe this is a way to condition us to buy into the baloney of why they're going to potentially move into the bullpen. Who would you move to the bullpen? Because they're not going to go 6-man rotation. They're not going to go to the 6-man rotation. And why would you take a seasoned veteran pitcher who has always been in the rotation and move him to the bullpen? Not saying you're wrong, but why would that make more sense than moving Chase Burns, who throws high heat, hard and fast and early? Why would you go that route? Or what makes that make more sense than the other route? Not arguing, just questioning.
Right. For 2 different reasons. One, I can never remember what his name is.
Lytle?
Yeah, Lytle.
I always said Little for a while, but whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I was talking about, like, I don't know which way to say it. But so Lytle is used to throwing in the bullpen. Burns is not. There's number one. Number two, I think Burns gives you more, and I understand this might going to sound weird, and this might come across as verbose kind of in a way. I think Burns can give you more top end, meaning his good starts won't be, how do I word this? What's the word I'm looking for? Obscene, I get. Not obscene, that's not right. But weird, I guess. Like Lytle is, we know who Lytle is. Yes, he threw a great start, his first start for the Reds, but his career numbers aren't that. And to expect that as a starter for the Reds every single time out, I think is fool's gold in a way. His numbers are better out of the bullpen. That's where he was working out of for the Rays. So I think that's why, for me, leave Burns alone. He's already dealing with it. Coping with enough right now, trying to learn how to throw against the major league hitters and stuff like that. So you're not going to mess with him that way by just leaving him in the starting rotation. You're moving out to the bullpen. Now he's got to understand how to quickly warm up. Now he's got to understand, like, how's his arm going to feel on a day-to-day basis moving forward when he's never truly done it. He's always been a starter, throwing every weekend for Wake Forest, and now basically moving up through the organization, he hasn't been a reliever. So just keep things normal for him. And if you're going to pitch him, then pitch him from every fifth day. And if you're not going to use him, then shut him down, which I'm completely against. I don't think they need to do that. They moved Burns up so late. That's why I think the Wake Forest innings are relative, because it turns out to come out to be about the same amount of innings that he threw last year in college. And I understand major league innings, and these are going to be competitive innings moving forward, especially if the Reds do what we hope the Reds do and stay competitive in this race, which goes to my other point. I don't think it's really relative, but sticking with that topic, I don't know. To me, it's more of a danger by moving him to the bullpen, because now you're going to want to use him more. You're going to want to use him on more high-end leverage positions, because that's what they need. They need high-end leverage bullpen help. He already throws, like you said, high heat at 100 with a snapping slider. So, yeah, that tells me that you'd be using him at more like a Chapman type of role his first year with the Reds, if anybody remembers that back in 2012, where he was coming in seventh inning, eighth inning, sometimes in the ninth. Well, that's adding that. In how many days are you going to use him? So then the fans are going to get conditioned to seeing him coming out of the bullpen. And when we're trying to, quote unquote, look forward for the young pitcher, and hey, he's not available today, and then the fans are going to wonder why he's not available. And well, then would you even move him to the bullpen if he's not going to be available every third day? And that's I think if you're going to use him, which I think they should, just leave it alone. But why did you say it yesterday? So something's going to happen. That's where I agree with you. So
yeah, I feel like they're just throwing it out there to, like, because no one asked that. No one, like, that was
correct.
Unsolicited information that they just threw out to us, right? Like, no one, I didn't even think about it. I didn't even realize it. I didn't, like, because it's not like if Chase Burns was on the opening day roster, I would have thought about that sooner, but he wasn't. He was not in the rotation, starting opening day. They called him up at the end of June. So I thought July, August, September, 3 months. That's not a lot of time, but it's a good chunk of starts, and the kid's been thrown to the wolves. I've said before, opening up against New York, at Boston, against Philly, against the Braves, obviously, the 85,000 fans for one inning in a rainy, crappy day, right? Like, no one, I don't think any rookie has ever been thrown to the wolves in more difficult spots than he has. So, but 4 straight games, 10 or more strikeouts. No, I don't care about the win losses anymore. We're going to see a guy win a Cy Young this year with the losing record, and that's never happened in the history of baseball. So I don't care about the win. I heard that today, everyone making a big deal about, it's so bad that he doesn't even have a win in any of those. I'm like, not really. Just I care more about the strikeouts are great, but I care about the innings. get more innings. Like we're talking about innings count. The guy's not even throwing quality outings. Like he hasn't been efficient. He hasn't been very good. I mean, let me say that again. He's been good. He hasn't been very efficient.
I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. He's been very efficient, but the second, third time through the order, the team that he's facing is getting to him, and it's making the numbers not look as good as what they could be. And then they're wanting to have to pull him out because he's showing fatigue and whatever. And the pitch hitting numbers are up, but you hit without even knowing it. You hit what I was going to about my other topic, and it's just it's frustrating to me about Abbott. Like another quality start goes down the drain because moves at the tail end of the game don't make any sense.
With the Lux in the outfield?
Yeah. So for the last 3 weeks, you've done nothing as an organization except show to us from managerial point and GM point, you showed nothing to us except for the fact that defense is a priority on this team.
Who do you think is making those? Who do you think? So when they sent Will Benson back, who's making that call? There was an interesting clip that made its rounds during the All-Star break where when Nick Krall reached out to Terry Francona to ask him to manage this team, he said, he goes, your job is to, like, you're going to manage this team. Like you basically saying no like if you want to use analytics, great. You want to,
right.
Go be a baseball guy, because it was Francona and a bunch of old school baseball guys sitting there on the panel. And he said that's one reason why he is absolutely in love with this job is because he just gets to manage. He's not following the blueprint of analytics and everything else, which I love at times. But this is one of those where it's not making a whole lot of, I guess I just don't know who's in charge of making those calls. Technically you would think Nick Krall, but is Francona in charge of this? There was a lot of Indians/Guardians fans that had made the comment about a lot of Guardians fans loved Will Benson in Cleveland, but there was just something about the relationship with Francona that always seemed off. And that relationship seems to be the same here. There's a lot of weird stuff about how they manage Will Benson, and I don't know if it's a Terry Francona move or a front office move.
I don't know how to answer that because I want to say it's Krall, but the Indian thing is out there, and I don't think that's just hyperbole. I don't think it's straight lying. So I think there is some truth there. So that brings into question, is it Terry or is there an argument going on between management and coaching? I don't know what it is, but right now what I do know is it's hurting this ball club. So 3 weeks ago, for 3 weeks, a month ago, you were showing that defense was a priority because at the tail end of ball games, you were taking Marte out, even though he hit a home run in a game against the Dodgers, for defense. And then it wound up biting you in the tail. And then you make a trade at the deadline, even though your offense is horrible, you need a bat, and you need offensive help for this ball club. What do? You go out and you trade for the best defensive third baseman in the game. Okay, I'm fine with that. If that's who you want to be and that's what you want the roster to be, I'm fine with it. Then stay consistent. So we're coming down to it last night, and there's 4 at-bats left, and Lux is in left field. Make it make sense, because I can't. And then, like you said, with the Atlanta series, and I think I don't know what to think, and I asked this to a bunch of friends of mine when it happened. Why was Benson the guy even sent down? Like, that's the part of it I don't understand. I understand another roster move had to be made.
Well, the question I was counter with is, who do you send
down? So Fraley's coming up. If you want my honest opinion, Espinal.
That's fine.
If you want my honest opinion, send Espinal, because you just traded for Hayes, and Hayes is basically Espinal. So what's the role for Espinal now, especially moving forward since the trade deadline? What role does Espy even play now? I don't know. I truly don't. So then you get last night, and you have whatever with the debaclement that happened in left field. And it doesn't make any sense to me. So are you a defensive ball club, or are you not a defensive ball club? If you are a defensive ball club, then it makes no sense that you sent your best center fielder, because when Benson was playing center field, that was some of the best center field that has been played for this organization since probably Billy Hamilton was roaming the center field.
My God.
And it doesn't make sense to me. None of it makes sense to me. And then you go on top of that. Earlier, like last Friday, you had the Underhar playing first base for absolutely no reason at all. Like there's so many moves that you just keep adding up on top of each other, and yet you want to keep trying to sell everybody that we're fighting for the playoffs. Yet every good team you face, or every good pitcher you face, you can't score more than one run. I've never seen a season where literally in the span of a week, you can have so many up and downs. It's as if we're on a ride at Kings Island. Every time you think the team is done, they come back and they win 2 of 3. Every time you think the team is good and they're right there in it, they're a game and a half out of the wild card. I'm thinking about buying tickets for this weekend. Then they go and do managerial moves like they did last night in other games, and it's like, why would I even waste the money?
Yeah,
the whole thing it's mind-boggling to me, just absolutely mind-boggling. And someone smarter than me is going to have to tell me and explain to me how I think, and I'm very confident in the fact that Terry Francona knows way more baseball than I have forgotten in my life. But the things that he is doing right now, I don't have an answer for it. I don't. And it doesn't make sense. And I'm not an analytic guy, but every time he makes a move like that, it's proving the analytic guy's correct. And there's not an answer. There's not a retort back for it. And it's very frustrating right now. Very frustrating.
Out of time, Shaw. Talk later.
All right. Go Blue.
Damn it. He got them every time. The Go Blue thing. I can't wait for when they finally get the hammer. I can't wait for when the NCAA finally decides to, I'm going to say Go Blue every time too. Nonetheless. It's the Justin Kinder Show presented by Frickers. Frickers, your home for fun, food, sports, and spirits. Text AEW to 937-518-1410 for your chance to win a pair of tickets to see AEW in Cincinnati next week. Follow ESPN Dayton's Facebook page. Card subject to change on Facebook if you're a wrestling fan. Clips and segments of the interview with John Moxley from AEW will be posted on there as far as that goes. All right, we'll step away for a few moments. We'll get back into some college football when we come back. Justin Kinder Show, 1410 ESPN Radio.
DICUSA.com or in stores at your local CVS.
Now, back to the Justin Kinner Show, right here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM.
All right, and we are back, 424 here in the Miami Valley. It's the Justin Kinner Show presented by Frickers. I tell you what, getting more and more excited. Football season, it's basically here, right? It's basically here. Talked about the Cleveland Browns and Shedeur Sanders yesterday. Tell you what, I'm a hypocrite. I get it. I was not a big fan of the Shedeur storyline, but I'll be a big fan of anybody if you could throw the football. And that's something that Cleveland hasn't been able to consistently find enough since returning in the recent years. But here's how I also know. Okay, here's how I also know that football season is here. Here is how I also know that it's almost time to start talking more and more Bengals and Browns football. Bengals, Browns, week 1. And there's no better person to call into the show. Oh, yeah, baby. The one, the only, the true American dude. What's up, brother? How are you?
What's up, brother?
Happy football season.
Yes, sir. I'm chomping at the bit. You've been chomping. I've been smelling footballs in the air for the last 3 weeks. Don't care for baseball. Everybody likes what they like. I get that, yada, yada, yada. But baseball was boring to me. I played 1 year in Little League. I said, this sport ain't for me. Real quick, I talked to you off air. I know you thought I was at Cleveland's training camp, but I was out at Valley View High School, my old high school. And I'm going to try and get a interview with the head coach out there, Matt King. And I know all the assistants because I went to school there. I've been out now for 50 years. They got a scrimmage coming up Friday night with Marion Local. Then they open up with Coldwater. I know you guys have the contract and all that with the G-Walk, and I've told you this before. I don't have no problem. I love football. I don't have no problem with the Centervilles and the Waynes and all that, yada, yada, yada. But I'm telling you guys, you get out in rural Southwest Ohio, there's an awful lot of good football in the smaller schools. I'm just here to tell you that. And Friday night they open up at home against Coldwater. It'll be a heck of a test because Coldwater, that whole area up there, Coldwater, New Bremen, Minster, St. Henry, Marion Local.
I lived up there, Steve. I've lived up and from that area up north. I'm very familiar with how good those small towns.
Those kids, I don't know what it is about those kids. They're well disciplined. They're well behaved. Last year they put it on Valley View up there, and 38 zip. And I just noticed the discipline. And the coach has been there for a long time. Otto, I can't pronounce his name, but like Marion Local's coach, he's been there for 40 years. The program from the Peabody all the way up. Valley View had that in the 90s when they won 3 out of 4 years in the state title in Division 4. And I think it's starting to come back. This coach that's there now, he's getting it reinvented again. People are starting to buy in. They got 60 kids out now. This is a Division 4 high school team in Southwest Ohio. 60 kids out for football. I'd put that up. And the years they won the state titles, our old boy Mike Hartsock, when he was with WHIO, and the words came right out of his mouth. And next time you run into him, and he knows me through Slimmer, he made the comment on air. He goes, I know Valley View is Division 4, and I'm not saying they could beat Centerville or Wayne or Fairmont or any of them, but they could play head-to-head with any of them those years they won the state title. So it's not always the big D1 schools that, and there's been a lot of good players, and not just Valley View, but Coldwater, a lot of small schools put out the Hoynes from St. Henry, if you remember them.
Yeah, my wife's from
St.
Henry.
I think they were pretty good. Jim Lachey, who played for the Redskins, and yes, I said the Redskins, not the Commanders, because this old boy ain't worried about being politically correct for anybody. That's why I call the Redskins Worston Redskins still, not the Commanders. I know you guys have to do it because you're, the job you do, whatever. But anyway, I want to try and get a setup, an interview with the head coach up there. Maybe they probably won't be able to tomorrow because he's getting ready to scrimmage Marion Local Friday night up there. And probably, he's getting pretty up, trying to get the kids ready and getting them pumped. It's amazing, dude. I went there 50 years ago. Now, this is a small school. It's amazing when you go in there. The weight room they got, they didn't have any of that back in the early 70s when I started because the coaches thought weights would make you, muscle bound, yada, yada, yada. Now you've got running backs in high school that are 220, benching 300 pounds and running a 4.540 because of the speed and acceleration camps, the weightlifting, the nutrition. They had now this is a small school, Division IV.
Yeah.
They had train. I went through there the other day at the old high school. They got trainers working with kids with their knees and ankles. We never had any of that. Coach said, rub some dirt on it, get your ass back in there. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
It's just amazing. It's just amazing how high school and it just carries over into college. I guess it's all, what it is, as the old saying is. But I'll let you go, man.
No. Hold on. The music is playing. You're the Cleveland Browns guy. Are you putting the wrist up? Are you ready to go? Are you all about Shedeur Sanders? Is Shedeur Sanders the guy?
It's one game, and he looked. I liked his release. I liked it. He's a playmaker, I think. Let's see how he does against the Redskins. When do they play the Redskins? Tomorrow night or Friday? Friday night, isn't it?
I think Cincinnati has the Washington team on Monday.
Nah, well, Cleveland's got somebody. And that's another thing. I love that Channel 7 in Dayton has an affiliation with the Cleveland stations that they carry all Cleveland's preseason games. I'll guarantee you this: you'll never go up to Cleveland. You'll not see anything about that Pop Warner team down on the river. Not in the newspaper, not on their local talk shows, their sports shows, or anything. I'll put that to the bank because I've been there and known it on Sundays.
Well, they're at Philly. They're at Philadelphia on Saturday.
Oh, okay. Well, if he goes up against some of the starters, that'll be a good test. But he's not. He's a young kid. I think he's got some talent. Let's see if some of the starting offensive line kind of help him out a little bit. We'll see. And we'll take it one game at a time. I'm sure Flacco's going to be the starter week 1.
What is this poise, Steve, from Springboro? Where is the gravitas? Where is the confidence? What is this coach speak? Are you on? Did Valley View ask you to join the coaching staff? Where is this coach speak coming from? One game at a time. What is this?
Hey. You go 1-0, isn't that correct?
Oh, Jesus.
I'm just saying, hey, man, that's your goal, ain't it? Go 1-0. I'm not worried about them beating the Pop Warner team down on the river opening day.
There we go.
They'll take care of business. When 95 comes off the corner and takes care of Frosty Tips, probably puts him out for the season. We'll see. Hopefully that will happen. Then we'll see what they do. You take Chase off, you take Higgins off, and he's an average quarterback, and that's right, Bungle fans. That's what I said. He's an average quarterback without the talent that he's got on that team. And I'm going to tell you something else. They're going to have to put up a 40-burger every week because guess what? Their defense is going to give up 41, and they're going to have a lot of L's checked off in that L column. Not W's, L's, Bengals fans. I got to go, dude. Later.
There he is. Football season is basically here. Dick, how are you, buddy?
What's up, Justin?
What's going on?
Hey, I was saying when they got the draft picks, and I know they had a bad year, but the Browns, like Steve said. Hey, you know something?
What?
Sanders looked pretty good, didn't he?
I thought so. I wasn't not a big Sanders guy personality, but I tell you what, his personality's fun if he could play.
Yeah.
So if he wants to have that confidence with him and he could play, I'm all for it. I think it's going to be fun in Cleveland if that's the case.
And it's nice that Channel 7, I don't know much about Joe Thomas, but Chris Rose was he filled in a little bit for Jimmy Donovan. I think he was pretty good, didn't you?
I like Chris. He used to do the best damn sports show period back in the day with, so I was a big fan of his from back in the day. But, yeah, he does a lot of stuff with Cleveland media over there.
Yeah, and another thing, too, when I was young, back in the college
You're still
days,
young, Dickie. Don't fool. You can't fool us. You're 20 at heart.
Yeah, 20 at heart. But I miss it when I went to college or when I was working at, I think it was Lowe's. I remember he was one of my favorites. He died so soon. Nev Chandler.
Yeah.
He was the greatest. He was. Did you like him? You do remember him?
I remember him. Yeah. I'm 35, Dickie.
Oh, yeah. He was one of the best. But, though, when I sent a card up there, Justin, I'm telling you right now, Jimmy Donovan is a legend, isn't he?
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. He was glad,
And hey, what do you think about somebody? I heard up in the station up there, Miles Garrett got in trouble again, right?
Yeah, he has a lead foot, apparently. He likes to ignore the speed limit. Dickie, you ever get a speeding ticket?
No.
No. What's the
fact?
No, you said not too bad. So you have got busted for speeding?
Yeah. No, when I used to work at Lowe's, I was always used to get scared, but
no, speed. Did you ever get a speeding ticket? Did you ever get pulled over for speeding?
Oh, yeah. Back in my college days, yeah.
All right, what's the fastest you ever, what's the fastest you were able to get
that? I think I was going, let's see, I was going 80 and the 65. That wasn't too good. Oh, boy. Hey, Dustin, I just want to know something that, you know what I'm saying is, do you like the new play-by-play announcer of the Browns?
I mean, I got to hear more of it. Look, I just want to hear whoever's calling the games to be able to talk about the Cleveland Browns winning. I think when the Browns are winning, you can fall in love with whoever's calling the games.
Well, you know, I don't know if they'll have the red zone, but Jimmy and Doug Deacon and Tony Grossi loved when I called, didn't they?
Oh, yeah. I actually just talked to Grossi the other day, to be honest.
But did he ever ask about anybody?
I always ask him about how often they hear from Dick from Dayton. I didn't realize you call it every single show throughout the state. So you're
what'd he say?
Oh, he remembered you're Dick from Dayton. Every time that you were mentioned down there, it's always Dick from Dayton. Because you even reference yourself.
He liked me when I called, though. Did he like my feedback?
Every time. But Dickie, we're almost out of time, buddy. Anything else?
No, go Browns.
There you go. Hey, are you going to bark like Steve from Springboro? Oh, Dickie, you're the man. Good hearing from you. Damn it, I love football season. It's the Justin Kinner Show presented by Frickers, your home for fun food, sports, and spirits. Ro, what up, Ro? He says, what's up, Justin? I see the crew is back. The Bengals are going to come out smoking and to surprise a lot of people. Just wait and see. Go Bengals. The only thing smoking in Cincinnati, Ro, was Snoop Dogg last night. Did you see the picture of him in the red suite? He might be the first person to just light up a blunt in front of everybody. Did no one say anything? Good for him. How many of you were there last night? It seemed like a big crowd there. Disappointed by the outcome of the game, of course, but pretty cool. I think those concerts are cool when they do that, especially a unique one like that, nonetheless. But all right, good stuff. The Justin Kinner Show presented by Frickers. We'll be right back.